Now, European leaders have lined up to show solidarity with Ukrainian President Zelensky after he came under attack from the US President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance in a stunning White House shouting match. Within a short time, prime ministers and presidents from north, south, east and west of the continent posted on social media in support of Zelensky and Ukraine following the clash. Macron had also called for respect for Ukraine. My colleague Vishnu joins us with more details. Vishnu, now does the on-camera fury between Trump and Zelensky have a modern president?
It doesn't at all. And I've never seen anything like that. I don't think any of us have seen anything like that. If you look at the meltdown which took place in the White House and some of the phrases that were used by Trump, and it has to be said, Zelensky stood right up to him. Trump said, "You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. Zelensky says, first of all, during the war, everybody has problems, but you have a nice ocean. You don't feel it now, but you could feel it later on in the future. Trump says, don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. J.D. Vance, the US Vice President, jumps in over there and says, offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country. This goes on and on. Trump finally says, you don't have the cards right now. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position. I've never seen anything like this. A complete meltdown between the US Vice President on one side and the Ukrainian President on the other, at the end of which Zelensky is told to leave the White House. They were supposed to have lunch after that. That lunch, forget about. He was told to leave the White House and was told to come back only if he's serious about peace. So Trump wants answers right away. Zelensky has one basic point. You need to guarantee our security for that to happen.
Right, Vishnu, and Europe has been quite quick to back Zelensky as well. They've in fact gone out to say that Zelensky and Ukraine must be respected.
So Norway, Spain, Germany, Lithuania are the countries which have openly and immediately come out in support of Zelensky. So, this again reflects the big divide which we're seeing among nations, Western nations, which have been the strongest allies. You've got America on the one hand pushing for a peace process right now, whereas several of these European nations who I have named basically saying that, no, hang on a second, unless there are security guarantees, unless you can ensure that Russia doesn't pursue a course of action against Europe and Ukraine, then there's nothing really on the table. And so where does that leave the great relationship which was founded at the end of the Second World War? We don't know. But the European countries, several of the main ones, have backed Zelensky through and through. The Italian Prime Minister, Meloni, who's in fact close to Donald Trump, has said that there needs to be an immediate summit between America and Europe to decide where that relationship stands. Macron of France being more diplomatic, saying, no, we must thank the Americans, but at the same time, there must be security guarantees. The Hungarian Prime Minister, who is close to Trump, has backed the American position.
Right, Vishnu, and what are Zelensky's options now?
Well, Zelensky is frankly in a very difficult situation because let's face it, without the assistance of America militarily, he doesn't have a good prospect of winning this war from a long-term standpoint. The problem that Ukraine faces is twofold. Number one, they have a manpower shortage. They don't have enough soldiers to last a long battle, a long war, which has already been 3 years against Russia. Secondly, they need state-of-the-art American systems. America can provide artillery and missiles and various systems, surface-to-air missiles, in a larger quantity and much faster than the European allies of Ukraine. If that tap runs out, then the attacks which Ukraine carries out on Russia and their defenses against Russia would likely buckle at some stage. So he doesn't have very many military options without the help of the United States, but he's absolutely clear. We want this war to end. There have to be security guarantees. What are those security guarantees? And there's no answer to that.
Right, Vishnu, Zelensky said after the heated shouting match that they can't just call a ceasefire because they need a guarantee of security. But Trump had in fact said that he trusts Putin to uphold a ceasefire. What's the significance of the US putting its trust on Russia like that?
Well, that's just unbelievable, isn't it? Here you've got a US president backing the Russian president, right, in the face of allies who say that we've been fighting a war for 3 years plus. Whose side are you on right now? But the fact is that at this juncture, even though Trump says that he's not on any side, that by itself is a reflection of where America is. Can you imagine America saying, and the US president saying, that he doesn't back either Putin or Ukraine towards conclusion of this war? When in fact, historically, the United States has been the biggest sworn sort of enemy of the USSR and then Russia, at this juncture being right down the middle, and according to some allies of America, countries in Europe, is essentially backing Putin and believing Putin that, look, if there is a ceasefire, then that is something that Putin will endorse and will respect. Whereas the Ukraine and Zelensky, and in that spat, he's pointed it out to Putin, to Trump on his face that, look, we've tried to do this since 2014. That's when the Russians got into Crimea. But can they be trusted? For so many reasons, they can't.